You know, this is an interesting question because we've seen many, many successful marriages and relationships with people that have different faiths that come together, but every single one of them sees it as a challenge.
That's
Make
true.
no mistake about it, they will see it as a challenge. Why? Because we're talking about the very core of our values, the very core of what we prize
right.
and treasure most in life. And so when these things are not shared with our soulmate, even though we may have a million other things in common,
Right.
it presents a lot of challenges.
Well, I'll tell you what's rough about that because, you know, intimacy is really based on that kind of sharing where you go, look, we are on the same page.
Right.
We look at life through the same lens. And whenever you see some of the deepest meanings that you hold to be true about the world, about why you're here, about your purpose, and you see those differently, there's sort of a vacuum between you that you just cannot reach across.
Right.
That doesn't mean you can't deeply value one another, but it always leaves you lonely at a certain place that you just can't touch in one another.
Yeah, you will feel like you have a spiritual mismatch in your
Right.
relationship. And that's one thing if one of you likes to garden and the other one doesn't. You know, anybody can live with that.
That's a
on,
kind of mismatch that's not a big deal.
it's on the periphery, but we're talking about now
That's right.
in the very core.
And let me just get honest, you know, the reason people and your family might raise questions about this is because our faith is so linked with the traditions of our families too. So it's almost becomes a collision in a way of your entire family system, and you have to navigate those waters with a lot of grace and a lot of wisdom. How do you handle holidays? How do you handle milestones? You know, how do you handle weekly worship, and how do you handle, you know, there's so many issues in life.
A baby is born, and how do we raise this child, and so forth.
Exactly.
And traditions that we go through.
It's huge in the layers that have to be unfolded daily, weekly, over time. This is not an issue that goes away with time.
Right. So what can you do at a practical level? Meet with your clergyman about this, and maybe have a joint meeting.
That's right.
If you're getting this serious about the relationship, this is something you want to explore thoroughly and get as much wisdom as you can.